Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Thank you for joining us today on New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and we're going to be taking calls for 2 hours today. So start calling in now. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. And here to talk to you about the issues that you're going through, we've got licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris. How you doing, Jacqui?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
Great to see you. And also here, we've got Sheri Keffer, who's a doctor of marriage and family therapy. What's going on, Sheri?
Well, I was wondering about what I was going to share today. And you know what I thought? I wanted to talk about something that's happening right now in some folks I'm caring for. And I want to clear up confusion. So I think when somebody is sexually betrayed, what happens is well-meaning people see the reactivity that's going on. Right? The anger, the hurt, the pain, the trying to control the uncontrollable, all of those things. And they begin to put labels on the betrayed partner. Because we're not our best selves when somebody is sexually acting out, lying and hiding things from us. So there's a difference between something that's called betrayal trauma-induced control, which is someone who's been impacted by betrayal trauma that's trying to control their environment. They might try to control their kids, the one who's sexually acting out. And as a difference between codependency. Now, codependency has tails into trauma that can go back into our family of origin. And so it's really caused by neglect, hurt, abuse, lots of things. And codependency, in the very core of it, is untreated trauma. But when there's a betrayed partner that is trying to control her environment, or his environment if he's been betrayed, that's a natural reaction to post-traumatic stress. That's what's going on. So a lot of times people will say to them, you need to just stay on your side of the street. And you know what? That is really harmful. It is stinking thinking for a betrayed partner, because for them, it's like getting into a car with somebody who's driving crazy and then telling them they're wrong for doing it. We can't let go of our steering wheel. We can't just stay on our side of the street. There's active sexual deception and sexual acting out going on. We have to put our hands on that steering wheel. We have to drive. We have to make choices about what we're going to do. We have to put boundaries down. We have to do a whole lot of things. So I just wanted to kind of clear the air and just give some compassion to those that are sexually betrayed to understand why they look like they look when we're in, different stages of the deception.
Yeah, they're grieving, and people treat it the way they treat people when they're grieving a loss. We don't understand what the other person's going through, and we don't like the way it feels being around them because they're in so much pain, so we try to stop their pain.
That's exactly
by labeling them or telling them, it's fine, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Calm down, right? It's like, how can you calm down when the one you love is acting out with pornography, affairs, prostitutes, cyber sex? And that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
We're here at New Life because we have paths through this. We want to help you, both you and the one that's sexually acting out.
Yeah, so we can talk about that issue today, or anything that you're going through, whether it's marriage or parenting issues, other kinds of relationship issues, struggles with boundaries, depression, addiction, feeling stuck. It is time to get unstuck. Go to your phone. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call, and we're going to be here taking calls for 2 hours. 1-800-229-3000.
early on looking at pornography that went into affairs, massage parlors, strip clubs with buddies. Before you know it, you're ashamed of that.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity, impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
My wife got a phone call, and she asked me who this person was, and man, how do I get myself out of this one?
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
When she said to me, I want you to look at this website named Every Man's Battle, she had me look, and I said, no, this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly the problems I have, and I'm gonna go.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Washington, D.C., April 25th through the 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
There's a book that we talk about often here on New Life Live. It is called Intimate Deception. It is by Dr. Sheri Keffer, and everything that Sheri mentioned at the beginning of today's program goes in line with what's in this book. So pick up a copy in the New Life store, go to newlife.com and click on store, and then you can get your copy of Intimate Deception. So thank you, Jacqui and Sheri, for being here on the program today. 1-800-229-3000 is our number. And let's get right to the phone, shall we? Here is Jamie calling in from Tampa, Florida, listening on Sirius XM channel 131. Hi there, Jamie. How can we help you today?
Hey, Brian and family. How are you guys today?
Doing well, thanks.
So I became a young life leader. I love, kind of speaking to kids, mentoring them and stuff like that. Because let's face it, we were all teenagers once, right? But my mom says I shouldn't be a young life leader because, oh, Jamie, you haven't been through anything. You haven't been through what I've been through. You haven't been through this. You haven't been through that. But one of the reasons why I want to mentor these kids is people like to talk about our youth today, but we just don't want to help our youth today. We want to talk about it, but not talk to them. We don't want to help them. And so if God led me to young life, but my mom says I shouldn't do it because I haven't been through anything that can qualify me as a mentor for these kids, which I don't think that's true. But I was a teenager once.
How old are you?
So I'm 32.
Yeah, that seems.
I think, yeah. I'm sure you've looked through something by now.
Let me tell you what you've been through and what you're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
Has your mom always tried to live her life through you?
The reason she hasn't, here's the thing, she hasn't always tried to do that, but she's always telling me about, because, she'll watch those, she's always talking to me about how disrespectful today's youth are. They talk back to their parents, and they don't, all this other stuff. And I always ask her, I say, okay, Mom, you say that, but what are you doing about it?
Right, but what I'm saying is, can you see how your mom is trying to control you as a 32-year-old man?
I actually do see that, and
okay.
And it sounds like it's fear-based from what I'm observing.
Mm-hmm. Fear-based. That sounds accurate.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And so, if your mom has some fear issues that are going on, right? That's what she needs to deal with. And I'm not picking on your mom. I'm just kind of calling out the obvious, right? Because you sound like a nice enough guy. I was in youth ministry for probably 15 years and loved it. I loved it for the very reason that you are wanting to go into it. So, I mean, I can be your other mother and give you a green light and say, hey, I think that is a wonderful thing that you would like to do. But my question... Go ahead.
If I'm gonna, we're always, and one of the reasons why I got the unction from the Lord to want to do this is because today's kids are going through something. It's not just cell phones. It's not just TikTok. It's not just social media. I mean, kids have problems that even 30, 40 years ago, and I know this for certain because, again, I'm 32. Kids are going through things that our parents and our grandparents just didn't have to go through back then.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
And now everything's just amplified. And rather than trying to, to help them, we're just talking bad about them. We're, oh, well, they're lazy, they're this, they're that. They talk back to parents, they do this and they do that.
It's
But we're
interesting
not
that adults are saying that when they raise the children, right?
Yeah,
our kids
yeah,
are products of their environment. We're not willing to change their environment, but we want to badmouth how they behave. And I think what Dr. Sheri was saying is that you've probably lived a life of your mom maybe trying to control you in different ways and really kind of blowing her fear through you. And yet and still, here you are, accepting the call from God to go out and mentor youth. And your question for permission, I'm going to back up Dr. Sheri as she says she can be your mom and give you the green light. I'm going to jump in as auntie and say, yes, just go ahead and do it. You're good. You're good to go.
Because, and here's the crazy thing. When I first walked into a club meeting with the kids, I'm like, okay, where are the disrespectful kids that people complain about? And they were not there. They're wonderful kids.
Mm-hmm.
And
those other thoughts are in the those people who are saying those things. Those are their thoughts, and just because they think them does not mean they're true. And what you're doing is you're hearing what they're saying and saying, well, that's not true, so I'm going to go ahead and do work anyway. And we just need more of that in the world, because just because someone says something doesn't make it true. But unfortunately, in this day and age, that's how a lot of people end up in unhappy situations in their work life or in their relationships, because they listen to someone other than God. And so you've done that. You've listened to God and you've accepted the call, and it's a great thing. And we appreciate having people out there like you that want to work with the youth.
Could it be that adults are just looking at the broad, big picture view? Oh, all of today's young people they're not respectful. They don't keep jobs. All they want to do is play on their phones. And because of that, it's like it's stereotyping all these young people, and that's not how it is.
And you are what you eat. And so if you think negatively, you're going to feel negatively. And so if you look at the world and say, oh, these youth are bad, then to you, that's what's true, and that's what you're experiencing. But what I tell the youth in my life is, that's a them problem if they believe that to be true about you. And it's pretty sad, because that means they don't know you. Mm-hmm. And they're not doing anything to get to know you. And so, Jamie, your frustration, I think, is valid. And your work, I think, is important. And in 30 years, you're going to have young adults who are living their life and having great families and a great life because you had some influence in their life. And so go forward.
Yeah, I was actually there, and I want to share a quick testimony. I had a young lady, 16 years old. I won't give her name. She was 16, and we're talking. We had a break at the club at Young Life, and she asked me about, how do we get to know this Jesus that we talk about? And so I was there when she gave her life to the Lord at 16 years old. And to me, that alone is worth getting up in the morning.
Amen. Amen.
That alone is worth getting up in the morning.
That's what we're here for.
That's so great. That's so great. Love it.
Now, let me just ask a question. Maybe you can call me Uncle Brian right now, Jamie. I don't know. But,
okay, Uncle Brian.
So is your mom... Is she just kind of concerned for your well-being? For example, do you have a job? Are you volunteering at Young Life? Or is this something that maybe she's just thinking, no, you need to make some money? How does that work?
No, it's the a lot of it is, we see those headlines in the news of adults doing things with children that they should not be doing. Mm-hmm. And it's the or we also see the kids saying that so-and-so did such and such. And, we think that that's going to be every kid, that's going to be every situation. And my mom sees those stories in the news, and that's what sort of drives that. Mm. When it comes to that, it's sort of, that's what drives it. It's the, Jamie, when you're going to wind up in jail if you keep messing around with kids or whatever. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. And not only that, come on, Young Life, come on. They have staff. They're not just going to put me in a room with a bunch of teenagers. They've got plenty of staff there.
So there's good boundaries and security for the kids, but she's concerned about you maybe being accused of something you didn't do and that impacting your life. I think that's a fair concern. You know, people are people, and that does happen. But like you said, there are protocols in place to make sure that all the kids are safe. Hopefully everybody's been fingerprinted and live scanned or whatever they do there in Florida.
We did all that. So, I had to do all of that when I started, and not only that, I also had to. It's funny. One of the first things that our director told me when I started is, Jamie, these kids are going to curse you out. They're going to call your names. Because they don't trust you yet. And I said, you know, that's fair. You know, because here's what I think a lot of them are used to is they say, or they curse out one adult, another adult says, okay, I'm not going to deal with this disrespectful little demon anymore. You know, and they walk away and they don't want anything else to do with them anymore. But when they find out that they got this guy named Jamie who's in this for the long haul, who's staying in the fight with them, who's getting into the trenches with them, they have I actually told the kids, please do not call me Mr. and do not call me Sir. Just call me Jamie. And they respect me more because I tell them that. And the kids, and I mean, come on, I told you earlier, teenager gave her life to the Lord. Yeah. That to me is worth getting up in the morning and taking a new word of young life or whatever it is I have to get there. That to me, Uncle Brian, Aunt Sheri, Aunt Jacqui, is worth the time, is worth the energy. It's worth the resource because they're worth it. These kids are going through things that, let's be honest, our parents didn't even have to go through when they were teenagers.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for your work. You're doing such great work. Brian, I wonder if we could send him How People Grow.
Sure. Do we have that in the store? We do have that in the store. So we're going to send you a copy of that, Jamie. Stay on the phone, and thank you for calling in today here on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number that you can call to talk to Doctors Jacqui Mack-Harris and Sheri Keffer. And now we're going to go to Jen in New Jersey. You are calling in from Sirius XM, channel 131. How are you, Jen?
Good, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear. How can we help you today?
Yes, I have a question about cognitive behavioral therapy. I was sexually abused by my father from very early age till about 40 when I confronted him with a teen. And I still have insomnia. You know, I'm thinking I may be hypervigilant and wondering if cognitive behavioral therapy would be something you would suggest to be helpful.
I would suggest EMDR, but CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is not a bad modality. There are some interventions within that modality that can maybe help you change some patterns in your life. There is a actual CBT protocol for insomnia specifically that might be helpful for you, but I would address the trauma using EMDR. Have you ever heard of EMDR? Yeah. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing? Yeah. Have you done therapy?
No, I have taken medication, but now I'm considering the alternative therapy.
And sometimes medication and therapy is the best, the most effective way to treat depression, anxiety, depending on what you have going on. But having a good therapist to walk through these things with you, I think, would be incredibly helpful.
Sure.
Dr. Sheri?
Okay.
Yeah, Jen, I am so stinking proud of you, girl, that you are embarking into deeper waters to get free from all the sexual abuse that has happened for, how old are you now?
64.
Okay, so for 4 decades. That's a lifetime. And I love working with sexual abuse survivors. When I hear someone, Jen, like yourself, that says, yeah, my dad, sexually abused me from early till 40. there's a lot of time, a lot of nights, oftentimes when I'm working with sexual abuse survivors, because going to bed was a scary time, a frightening time, where someone that you should have trusted, someone who should have protected you, someone who was in your own home that you couldn't stop from coming in, and someone who used you for decades. There's a lot of fear about going to sleep at night. And so the insomnia is really like there are these soldiers that are walking on a wall trying to keep you up at night, trying to keep you protected so that you're not harmed again. So, there's some good work to do.
Yeah, Jen, we'll continue talking to you when we come back from the break here on New Life Live. And we've got the phone lines open, taking calls for 2 hours today at 1-800-229-3000.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Let's go back to New Jersey and talk to Jen. Are you still with us, Jen?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, thanks for holding through the break. What did you guys want to ask Jen? Well, let's maybe ask Jen. What do you think of what we've told you so far?
Yeah.
It's all new for me. I've read about the EMDR. I thought, from what I've read, the CBT was better for PTSD and insomnia, but I'm learning from you, so keep teaching me.
Well, and what's interesting is when trauma happens, our brain wires in a negative belief about ourselves in order to try to protect us. So I don't know what those beliefs are inside of you. It might mean there might be some beliefs like I can't trust anyone, or I'm in danger, or I'm not in control. It's not safe. I'm not safe. Those are all trauma-induced shame beliefs that get wired in at the crime scene. And it literally was a crime scene that was happening for you. And I know that you had mentioned that you confronted your dad. Is he still living, or has he passed away?
He just died in January at 94.
And you know what I just said to Dr. Jacqui and Brian? This is what I just said. I said, I think your dad recently passed away, and that's why she has the opportunity of finally doing her work. Now, that might feel true to you, or it might not feel true. But sometimes it's that. It's like, okay, he's not here anymore. And I can just unravel. I can just let this pain out and not feel concerned or worried about talking about him or, whatever.
And sometimes because they're gone, you would think, okay, well, I'm safe now, so I should be fine. But now he's gone and you're still not fine. And that might be the thing that the catalyst that says, oh, well, maybe I'm not okay. Maybe I do need some help because I thought that this would just go away. He can't hurt me anymore. He's gone. And yet I still can't sleep. And so now you're at like, I need some help.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you confront him? Are you open sharing that with us?
With the team. I was seeing a counselor. She brought in a gentleman who was specifically involved with sexual issues. And we made a team and we planned for 9 months and then, went to my father and then we, notified the church that we were going to about the situation. So we had wanted him to go to a Colorado in-house, treatment with his wife, my mom, and he didn't want to do that. So he eventually did do that.
Did he? You're so brave to have done that. I would hug you right now if I could. You're incredibly brave to confront him. Did he own the sexual abuse? Did he own it?
Just what he was caught doing. He's never owned anything else.
Wow.
Do you feel like you were believed in your disclosure? Because you said his wife,
Your
mother.
mom.
My mom, she just never wanted to deal with anything and just never really wanted to get involved. But eventually was on his team. They figured out a way to blame me for whatever. I'm not quite sure how they did that, but
Well, they can do, whatever they want, but did it stick for you? Did you feel shame and blame as though you had done something wrong?
I didn't understand what was going on until I read and heard an article by Darcy Strickland about abuse and assessing repentance. And then I knew that, he had not shown godly sorrow or, cared about me. It was all defending himself.
Mm-hmm. You made that disclosure and you said you had a team and there was a therapist. Were you dealing with something that happened historically, or was he still perpetrating harm against you throughout your adult life as well?
Oh yes, every interaction was lust-based.
Okay. Every interaction was lust-based.
Wow.
And he's not been able to acknowledge that, but you have gotten some assistance. Do you have the team still? Are you working with a therapist currently?
I haven't been, no, I actually have been taking some counseling classes and kind of doing self-counseling.
Okay.
But I just had an opportunity to meet somebody who could do the CBT. And I have somebody who can do the EMDR as well.
Yeah, go EMDR, girl. I just think you're going to love it. And you're so insightful. I love your clarity. And I'm heartbroken that this happened to you.
Yeah.
But so proud of how brave you are.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
I truly believe in my heart that there's somebody out there right now who needed to hear it.
Yeah. And if you're going through a situation similar as Jen, or maybe you did in the past, and it still haunts you, it still keeps you up at night, Let's talk about it. We're going to be taking calls for 2 hours at 1-800-229-3000. That's not the only issue we can discuss, of course. We can talk about anything you want to get off your chest. 1-800-229-3000 is our number here at New Life.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
By the way, we are in the middle of a matching gift right now here at New Life, up to $500,000. So now is the time to give if you've always wanted to give, or maybe you thought, my 5 loaves and 2 fish, or is it 5 fish and 2 loaves? 5 loaves and 2 fish, right? Yes. It's not going to amount to much. It will. It will. So let's do this. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to newlife.com or text the word match to 28950. Here's something that Susie sent to us here at New Life. She says, we've been listening, the family has been listening since 2003. It reassures us that there's nothing we're going through that someone else hasn't survived. So it's your giving that helps us continue to do these radio programs and podcasts and offer resources to hurting people who need help. We've got tip sheets. We've got so much going on here at New Life, and your generous help is greatly appreciated. Again, go to 1-800-NEW-LIFE, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE, go to newlife.com or text the word match to 28950. Thank you for whatever you can do.
It's a huge help.
What was that?
I was saying it's such a huge help.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So getting back to Jen, and she's not on the phone anymore. By the way, we're going to send her a copy of the Take Your Life Back book, which is available in the newlife.com store. But we were talking off air a little bit about this, and it's just so bizarre. Jen's story. So sorry for everything she went through, and remember to keep Jen in your prayers. But just this whole thing, I mean, even into her adulthood, this continued. And me, I'm just the guy over here sitting in the corner wondering, well, why was Jen even looking for that? Why was there always that, what does she call it, a lustful interaction with her father? Every interaction was lustful. So I'm thinking at some point, Jen could have maybe stopped interacting with Dad, stopped visiting, or maybe they lived in the same house. I don't know. But the thing is, why do some... And then you hear other stories where people just run away at the age of 16 and never come back because, but so explain some of that.
Love and connection. Okay. We were born for connection, and in her early days, her attachments got really incorrectly wired. Like, it's just all screwed up in there. And so for her, this is love. She's daddy's little girl. She's daddy's special princess. And she continued to be that into adulthood, because if you're isolated in your family or in your community, you only know what you know. And she grew up with that just being how her dad was. I think she was having other problems in her life that took her to therapy, and the therapist probably pointed out that this is inappropriate and clued her in that your dad shouldn't talk to you and touch you that way. But she had that experience her entire life from probably infancy. And so for her, that was just a normal relationship with her father. She's 64 and starting to do some trauma treatment because it's taken this long for her to get really free. And as Dr. Sheri said, probably because he died. And that, either highlighted that this is a problem she's still having and he's gone, even though she's safe, she's still struggling. So maybe she should get some help. Or just the fact that he's gone and now that she doesn't have to contend with his hearing about it or thinking about how he would react to it, whatever caused her to start to get help. I'm just really grateful that she has, and like you said, heartbroken that was her story, her life. But kids, like even foster kids, they come out of traumatizing homes. They come out of homes full of gang violence or domestic violence or drug addiction, neglect. They want their mom and dad. We all want our mom and dad.
Yeah. Well, and I think some of the work that Jen and others that are listening today that can relate to her story, that you've been a sexual abuse survivor, something happened in your home, someone sexually violated you, whether it was your dad or a brother or another sibling, and your mom didn't protect you. I can't even tell you how many stories I can think of where sexual abuse survivors have a lot of feelings towards their mother, because their mother, like, I'll ask them, did you think your mom knew? And they'll say, I think she did, because, I was on the couch with my dad. He had a blanket over us and she walked by and, and she turned away. Like, I looked over. A lot of times sexual abuse survivors will be looking. They're trying to find someone to rescue them. But like she said, never wanted to deal with anything. Mm-hmm. So
that's another reason why it can go on so long.
Yeah.
It's both of your parents, right? If mom's not saying anything, maybe this is what it's supposed to be.
And, I often say, and this is, in my book, Intimate Deception, Healing the Wounds of Sexual Betrayal, is when there is sexual deception going on. I mean, this guy is a perpetrator. He was a sexual pedophile, perpetrator, sex addict. He's lots of things, right? But that betrayed partner, right, is in denial. She's putting her hands over her eyes, doesn't want to deal with what's going on. And so when there is deception and denial, there's a whole lot of bad stuff that happens in a home. And part of my work with betrayed partners is to help them wake up, to help them open their eyes and begin to see that you don't have to stay stuck. There's harm that can happen. It is happening to you, possibly family members, other people, property, whatever. And it's really scary to open your eyes. This, doing this, I used to do that. I did this for 4 years with Connor, put my hand over my eyes because I just didn't want to deal with the reality of what was going to happen when I began to deal with the sexual and intimate deception that was going on. I knew things would change, and I was scared of that change.
And often the people around you are scared of that change too. I've heard people be told, oh, but other than that, he's a good guy. Right? And so they will try to convince you to stay in something that's hurting you because of their own fear or their own past experiences. I've also heard, I've had clients that told me that their mom's response was, well, that's nothing compared to what happened to me. And so, if mom grew up in a similar situation, then to her, this is normal. This is just what men do. And I think it also, oftentimes we we put men in a category of weakness in that they can't curb their own desires. They can't be responsible for their own behaviors in that way. And so we, chalk it up to that's just boys being boys, or men will be men, or locker room talk, instead of holding individuals responsible for their behavior in the world, period, no matter what their gender identity is. You, a man or a woman, you need to be respectful of people's bodily autonomy and own up when you're doing something wrong. And if you're the person in someone's circles and they're going through something like this, please encourage them to get help, and rather than encouraging them to look the other way, or, well, just don't think about it. And often we don't want to be woke. I mean, it's a dirty word these days, being woke, but all it
being
means,
awakened.
That's all it means, is being awakened,
Well,
right?
yeah,
But we've labeled this word woke as something other, and even in realms outside of family and sexual identity, it just means to be alert and aware of what's going on around you. And sometimes therapy is the place where people go to finally wake up.
Yeah, it is waking up. It is opening our eyes. And, we can't deal with what's in the dark. We can only deal what comes into the light. And I just was talking to someone yesterday, and I said, what do you think you need to deal with this? And she said 2 words. First thing she said is, I need support. I need support. And then I need to have self-respect, motivation to do this. But the support, we all need support to be able to walk into this murky water and to begin dealing with what's going on. So.
And you said she said self-respect too, so that she could be motivated to do what was right for herself.
Yeah.
And so often, if you grow up in this kind of environment, your self-respect is nothing.
Yeah.
That's been stripped away. I was talking with a client not too long ago, and she was saying how growing up, her mother was a narcissist, and so nothing was hers. She was not a person. She was an extension of her mother. And it wasn't until she was well into her adult life that she started to learn how to separate herself from her mother. And I imagine that's what this woman was going through, Jen, was that she was an extension of those parents. She wasn't her own self, so she couldn't stop it, even as a grown woman.
So we've got some intensives coming up soon. We do them throughout the year in different locations, and there's one for men called Every Man's Battle. It begins this weekend, in fact, in Washington, D.C. It starts Friday, but there's still time for you to sign up and go, because if you're dealing with these things, if you're a guy who, well, men will be men, boys will be boys, whatever, and you're just thinking, no, I can control myself. No, you need help, and we can provide that help at the Every Man's Battle Intensive. You know that you need help. You know that you shouldn't be doing these things. So please give us a call and let us help you at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Recent studies suggest that approximately 20 to 25% of Christian marriages end in divorce. People get married thinking, that's never going to happen to me. We love each other. But sadly, that may not be the case after a few years. That's why getting help for your marriage, even if your marriage you think is, it's going pretty good, you need help. It's vital. So come to the Intimacy in Marriage Weekend. You'll learn to deepen your spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy. It's a weekend packed with 7 teaching sessions, 5 small process group sessions facilitated by a credentialed New Life Network counselor, a half-hour private session with your group facilitator, and the next Intimacy in Marriage Weekend is July 25th in Washington, D.C. You'll never regret joining us. You might regret not joining us. And who wants to live a life of regrets, right? Mm-hmm. So get in touch with us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or newlife.com/IIM, as in intimacy in marriage, newlife.com/intimacy in marriage, for all the details about the next intensive happening the weekend of July 25th in Washington, D.C.
Do you know what I love about that weekend that makes us unique? No one else does this, is not only do we have teaching, but then we break up into small groups. And I have, I would go and I have 4 couples. And 100% of the time, this happens 100% of the time, you as one of the spouse, either the wife or the husband, will share something that's going on. And the one that you're with, you've wanted them to hear that message for decades. All of a sudden, they hear it through another human being. And, they hear how there's, control going on, or I feel, emasculated, or, these topics that can happen in a home, in a family. And all of a sudden, it's like we're talking about this and it's real and it's honest, and there's change that starts to happen and ownership that's taken just because you're having a conversation, confidential, right, in that small group. But it's very different than just sitting and listening to somebody talk. That's all cerebral. This is very interactive and deep, life-changing. So if you're thinking about going, you want real change, then go to the Intimacy in Marriage Weekend, and you won't go home without some real change.
I agree. And after in that breakout group, the last half an hour of the breakout group, one couple gets to spend with their facilitator. Everybody else goes out on break. And in feedback that I received, every one of my couples, that half an hour was incredibly important to them, because, as you said, something came up in the group that they needed to hear. And then they got the opportunity to talk it out with me and to do the comfort circle and to just learn some other things about themselves and how they interact. And I believe everybody should do it. And I've actually had some of the feedback. One of the couples, the wife said she was so grateful her husband kept pushing for it, because she did not want to go. And it was Valentine's weekend. And so I had several couples that were like, why are we doing this on Valentine's weekend? This doesn't seem like this is going to be fun. This is going to be miserable. And so there was some fear going into it. And every couple left grateful that they had come with a changed marriage, with a plan and a toolbox to take home to be able to navigate the difficulties they were facing before they came. And just grew. They just all left excited about what marriage could be, and the hope and healing that they found there. The speakers are great. There's the interactive aspect of it. And so absolutely go to Intimacy in Marriage. If you are married, period, newly married, and there were a couple of couples that were premarital.
Yeah.
They were coming because they were going to get married or have been married for a long time. Doesn't matter. It's a great experience. It's a wonderful weekend.
Has this ever happened? And because you're mentioning how, let's say there's spouse A and spouse B, they're married, and then they hear spouse C say something, and spouse A thinks, man, yes, exactly, that's what, and spouse B is thinking, I've been telling you that for years. How come it took spouse C? But then isn't there that discomfort now between spouse A and spouse B because, oh, you had to hear it from somebody else? I've been telling you this for all this time. What happens then?
We can talk that out. So what I usually tell people when that happens is, yes, you primed them. That message was somewhere back in their subconscious, and now they're hearing it again, and they're hearing it from a different perspective.
It's like planting seeds, would you say?
You've
like
been planting the seeds, and
yeah.
now this person is coming and fertilizing it. But your partner got it. And so what I tell partner A is, you wanted them to hear it. They've heard it. So let's move forward with them hearing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we just get stuck in being argumentative. And so I'll push back on that and say, why does it matter who they heard it from? Right? Because that's ego.
Yeah.
That's, I want it to be me. I want to be the one that creates the change. And what I'll ask is, do you want the change or do you want to be the one? Right? And so then that person has to deal with their own ego about, oh, I don't like that. You could listen to them, but you won't listen to me. And also, your partner has some different understandings about who you are. They live with you. And so this other person is brand new, and they don't have those memories, those thoughts, those experiences that might cloud their view of you sometimes, and so they might not take you seriously. Like there have been times my husband has said something, or I've said something, and then of course somebody else brings it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and he's like, I've been telling you that. It's definitely happened in the reverse, and when I hear him tell somebody something, I'm like, oh, he was listening. He didn't tell me he was listening, but now I hear him telling them the thing I told him.
Yeah.
And so I for myself personally, and I try to encourage other people to this, I'm just grateful that the message was received.
Yeah. Something else I've heard about intimacy in marriage is the couples who will come more than once. Like, it's not just a one-time thing. Sure, you can make it a one-time thing if you want, but there are couples that maybe they come once a year or whatever to the different ones because they get so much out of it. And it's not because it didn't work the first time. It's just they just want that, oil change for their car, you could say. You don't just drive off the lot the first time and say, oh yeah, my car's going to be great for the next 100,000 miles. No, you need the servicing.
Yeah. Well, and we're in a different place. When you go the first time, there's so much, and it's all new. And yet, when you go again, you guys have been growing for a while. And so you're going to get completely different things the next time you come.
Yeah.
So.
Great.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well.
Thought you were going to say something else. I was
No.
just going to tell people, once again, the dates for the next Intimacy and Marriage Intensive. It's July 25th, 26th, and 27th in Washington, D.C. All the details are at newlife.com, or you can call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And yeah, if you have attended a previous Intimacy and Marriage Intensive or any of our other intensives, you're welcome to come again, and you even get a discount. So how cool is that? Again, all the details at newlife.com. And the other intensives that we offer, we have the Restore Healing After Betrayal Intensive. That is happening next weekend, May 2nd through the 4th in Dallas, Texas. Again, the details at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And the Every Man's Battle Intensive starts Friday in Washington, D.C. You can still sign up by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's probably the best way to get into this weekend's intensive. Or you can just go to newlife.com if you want to read about it. But if you want to sign up, do it now. 1-800-NEW-LIFE is our number. Okay, so we're going to take calls for another hour here at New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. Dr. Sheri Keffer and Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris, you don't mind staying around for another hour,
Love
right?
it.
Awesome, because we want to talk to you about whatever it is you're going through. Maybe something you heard this hour sparks something that you want to talk about. Well, now's the time to do it. You've been putting it off. Call today, 1-800-229-3000. Maybe you're a new listener. Maybe a friend or a family member told you about this program and said, you know what, you really need to give these people a call. They know what they're talking about. They've helped me. They can help you. So we're going to be here for another hour to talk to you, to help you get out of this rut that you have been in for way too long. It's time to get out of your rut by calling us at 1-800-229-3000. Thanks for listening. God bless you guys.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.